Yo, what is going on, you goldfish goblin gallade? Today, playing some games with Pika Hammers. Now, I've been doing this thing on my stream, twitch.tv/AzulGG. I stream every day except Thursdays, where I'm playing 25 games in a row in a stream with one of the bigger, more popular decks in the format. The first deck I started this out with is this PikaRom Hammers, and this is the build that I came to after those 25 games on the stream. So make sure you go check out the stream because I'm doing it with more decks coming up. Started with Pika Hammers. I'll also be doing it with PikaRom with no hammers. I specifically went out of my way to never cut the hammers from this list. We did change things throughout the stream in the list. And I'll talk a little bit about what I settled on here. I've always been a huge fan of 3 Boltund. 4 would be ideal, but I feel like it is slightly overkill. But I'm a huge fan of the 3 Boltund. It just helps out a lot. Using 2 Boltund in games is not uncommon. After the first one might go down after it electrifies, getting into a second Boltund later in the game, not uncommon. So if you discard, if you play 2 and you're not sure if you're going to use the second one and you just like give it up early to a research or a quick ball or whatever, discard it, then you might not have another one for later. So the third one helps out with that. Opening it, of course, is great. And then just seeing it off of Dedenne change, drawing with Crobat, research, whatever, more outs to just see the Boltund to then get it in the active and get that turn 1 electrify is a big deal. So 3 Boltund, 2 Dedenne, 1 Crobat, that's pretty standard in pretty much every list. 1 Eldegoss as well. 2 PikaRom, 1 Raichu. I would like a second Raichu in here, but you only ever need 1 Raichu a game, especially with the heavier Mewtwo count. Like, you can use Raichu multiple times through the Mewtwo's. If one Mewtwo goes down, you have the second Mewtwo to be able to copy Tandem Shock, or a Mewtwo plus a Raichu. So you only ever need 1 Raichu. And if it is prized, you can sometimes draw prize cards before you would actually need it in a specific game, and then you might be able to find it. So I would like 2 Raichu because I have had situations where I've prized it, and I needed it before I could like draw a prize card. So it has come up before, but it's pretty scarce, pretty rare, and sometimes you can come up with a different way to win the game without having to use Tandem Shock as well. So it's like not necessary, although it is a nice option. So still just sitting on that 1 Raichu. It's definitely something I would like to play 2 of. But especially with the Crushing Hammers in this specific build, I don't think it's gonna happen. 2 PikaRom, of course, because we need to full blitz, so we can't afford to like prize our 1 of PikaRom and be like, all right, we'll get it later after we draw some prize cards. Can't do that like we can do with the Raichu. So 2 the PikaRom, of course. The Koko Prism, of course, up to 2 Mewtwo currently. A lot of lists are on 1, some lists are on 2, like it's back and forth. But I like 2 Mewtwo a lot. I think it's so much more beneficial to be attacking with Mewtwo in so many matchups that sometimes that's all you want to attack with. So just 2 Mewtwo, I think it's just really, really good. So I've got 2 of them in here. 1 or 2 Cherish Balls, because helping find the Mewtwo. Like if we're gonna play this many Mewtwo, we want to be able to find and use the Mewtwo's. So I got the 2 Cherish Balls in here to help us find those Mewtwo's. It does mean we don't get as much value out of something like the E-Radar, whereas E-Radar can find us like PikaRom Dedenne on a turn, which is really nice. We still play that 1 E-Radar for that kind of potential value. But yeah, I feel like if we're going to play 2 Mewtwo, we want to really play towards setting up those Mewtwo's over PikaRom, over Raichu. We should have enough ways to go ahead and find them as well. So 4 Quick Ball plus the 2 Cherish Ball. Now, of course, there's the 4 Crushing Hammer in here. I will be doing a 25 games with a non-Crushing Hammer build, but I was like, this is going to be Crushing Hammer PikaRom. So throughout the whole 25 games I did on stream, I kept the Crushing Hammers in the list, although I think I'll definitely enjoy and like the non-Crushing Hammer build quite a bit more, because the Crushing Hammers overall, to be honest, were pretty not useful. not that good. The 1 E-Radar, like I mentioned. 1 Great Catcher in here. Great Catcher is super good right now. I think like almost every deck should try and play at least 1 Great Catcher, because I think Great Catcher is super strong right now overall. So and it's been super good. Great Catcher is really sick. I'd play at least a 1 of in pretty much every deck I play right now, I think. Yeah, 4 Quick Ball, of course. 2 Reset Stamp, of course. 4 Switch. 1 Chaotic Swell. I would like a second Chaotic Swell, but I can't quite find the space for it. And I don't know if I would like second Raichu or second Chaotic Swell more. But Chaotic Swell is super good against the Welder decks going around right now. Definitely something I would like to add, but hard to find the space. 3 Boss, 4 Marnie, 3 Research. Now, I did make a cut here on the 4th Research to fit in the second Big Charm / Mewtwo. Because Big Charm is also another thing that I feel like we want. It's so many matchups where Big Charm is just so useful. I would even like more. Like they're just so useful. As long as you can hit them in time. Against Eternatus on a Mewtwo, it's super good. Against Scorch on anything, it's super good. Like the Big Charms are insanely good right now. Huge fan of the Big Charm. So yeah, I want to go up to 2 Big Charm. Another thing I want to go up to is 2 Mewtwo. So we had to make cuts somewhere, and a Research got the cut. I feel like as long as once we play that first draw supporter in a game, we're usually set to go from there. But you know, maximizing outs to that first draw supporter, at least of a good draw supporter, is good as well. But yeah, I'm on that 3 Research right now, and it's felt pretty good so far. It's felt fine. I haven't missed it yet, but always more games to be played. 2 Air Balloon, of course, 2 Big Charm. I went up from 1 to 2, and it felt super good. Big Charm insanely good as well, right, in PikaRom. Those numbers just line up super well for the Big Charm. Like I said, Turn to Scorch. Mirror Match, not so much, but sometimes a Big Charm on a PikaRom can protect it from the full Lightning Ride from a Raichu if you're not able to use Mewtwo in that matchup. Yeah, Big Charm on Boltund against Double Blaze or just Blacephalon, but with an energy. Scorch, they need an extra energy. Like, Big Charms, I love them. Super good in the deck right now. 4 Speed Lightning and 10 Basic Lightning. I don't think I'd ever mess with this energy count. If anything, the only thing I would change would be cut a speed for another basic, but Speed Lightning energy is just so good that I don't want to do that for sure. And yeah, that is the build. That's where I ended after 25 games. I want to show off the list and show off some games with it, so let's go ahead and let's get in to some games. Okay, we're gonna go second. There are a couple of matchups where going first is fine, but generally speaking, second's gonna be a little bit better. Our opening hand, not great. We have the Crobat for draw power, but with our current hand, there's not a way to really thin out much out of our hand, so this is not looking good for us off the rip. But tons of top deck options that can get us out of this sticky situation. We'll see. Like, even like a top deck quick ball would be insane here. We could like quick ball away the energy, switch into a Boltund, attach to the Boltund, and then Crobat for like 4. So that would be good. We could even play the Reset Stamp as well. We don't have to keep it. It looks like we're probably up against Eternatus here, which is a tough matchup. Definitely a unfavorable matchup, but not terrible. We definitely want to set up Mewtwo's with Big Charms. Now, they might play Power Plant, which makes things a little bit annoying for us. And there's another energy top deck. But they didn't get an energy down turn 1, so we haven't lost yet. we're not lost yet. I don't want to Reset Stamp them though, so they might just go attach pass. Attach Crobat for 1 feels really bad. Attach Boss to get that out of my hand maybe is a little bit better. And then Crobat for 2. But we've already played our supporter for the turn now. But now if I top deck another dead card, I won't be able to. So I think I am going to Crobat for 2 here, actually. We get Great Catcher Crushing Hammer. Could be a really slow one here. Pass to my opponent. Yep, slow one going on here. Not a whole lot to work with. Got a Crushing Hammer, which is nice. Maybe that can set my opponent back. But it looks like my opponent also plays those Crushing Hammers. Here comes another one. So that makes up for quite a few of their dead cards in their hand, it looks like. Ooh, and 2 Boss go. That's good for us. Means we might be able to force them to take a knockout on a 2 prize Pokemon like a Boltund or something. But it's going to be tough here. Our opening hand's pretty rough. Still hope. There's always hope for, Stamp plus Tandem Shock towards the end of the game. So we haven't lost yet. Here comes a Power Excel. Hopefully they don't have an energy to work with it, but it looks like they do. Okay, so that one's rough as well. But here we go. We got Crushing Hammer. There's a Boltund top deck. Crushing Hammer is a Tails. You can at least use Boltund this turn. Electrify. Put a couple energy on the Raichu. And yeah, we're not out of it yet. I've come back from worse scenarios. They're going to get the knockout. Well, they could whiff the knockout on my Boltund still, actually. Whiff the knockout on my Boltund. Probably just go for a Bolt Storm. We could just Electrify again if we can find like a PikaRom. But if the worst comes to worst, we can always just kind of Tandem Shock the Eternatus V here. Just Tandem Shock it. Hit it for that 160. Paralyze it. If they do get the VMAX knockout, we'll have to wait and see if they get that. Here comes the second energy, so they need VMAX and only like 1 more bench Pokemon. If it's a Goon, that works even better. They did bench lock themselves here, so this could turn, and they're down. Oh, I thought it was 2 switch. Only 1 switch. They already got the Yveltal set up with that free retreat to be a pivot, so once again, not looking great. But there's still a chance. There's still a chance here. There's the retreat, so it looks like Power Excel is going to be the play for my opponent. They whiffed the VMAX. Yeah, you don't want to bench lock yourself like this because it sets it up where now if you're only out to like draw more cards this turn is like a Crobat, you just can't Crobat. There's a Mewtwo. Definitely going to bench that. Don't want to attach it because I might want to pivot off the Crobat with this energy. So I'm just going to go ahead and Electrify to the Mewtwo. Here. 4, 5, 6, 7. So next turn, if they whiff again, we could attach Active and Bolt Storm, KO the Eternatus. That is something we can do. But if not, attach to the Crobat, retreat it into the Raichu for a Tandem Shock is probably what we're going to end up doing instead. Of course, this all comes down to what does our opponent have this turn. There's a Marnie, so they freed us up from our dead hand. Will they actually even get a VMAX this turn? We're hoping they don't. We hope they kind of whiff 1 more turn here. Now we got some stuff to work with finally. Here comes a Crushing Hammer, but we have a Koko Prism to help back us up now. Where are they going to remove this energy from? It's from my Mewtwo. I only have 1 in the discard pile here. there's the VMAX. So we're going in with Raichu from here to try and we don't actually have to use Raichu. We could Koko to my Mewtwo and my Mewtwo, switch into Mewtwo, and then paralyze with Mewtwo and try and get a Big Charm for Mewtwo. So then, yeah, that's going to definitely be our plan. Use Mewtwo with a Big Charm, because that can't get 1-hit KO'd even if the Eternatus player has a full bench, which should be pretty easy for them at this point. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the bench. Yeah, there's a Crobat if they want to use that this turn for 8. They're not going to. That's smart. Leave the bench space open. I wouldn't have even benched a Spiritomb, to be honest. Yeah, let's go. Send up Crobat. Gonna switch into something to Tandem Shock with. The question is just kind of what. Now we can actually put the Air Balloon in play and discard the switch. Grab a Dedenne, right? Yeah, Dedenne. Air Balloon active. Mewtwo to the bench. Koko to the bench. And Dedenne change. Yeah, because the Mewtwo's, if we get Big Charms on them, which we haven't found yet. Good quick ball away a Boltund. To be honest, I don't think I really need that much more from the deck. Grab a PikaRom. Throw it on the bottom with this Marnie. Once again, looking for Big Charms. No Big Charm. A lot of energy. A lot of energy. All right. Gonna go with a basic energy here. Pop the Koko to Mewtwo. Now, I don't know now if I want... I do kind of want to attack with Mewtwo because I want to force that last bench Pokemon from my opponents. Tandem Shock. Yeah, I think I do want to force my opponent to just kind of bench another Pokemon. Because then if they bench another Pokemon and then I paralyze them next turn with Tandem Shock, then they won't have room on their bench for a Crobat, which could be a difference maker. So that's what we're going to go with. Here comes a Chaotic Swell. It doesn't matter. It would have been bad if it was a power plant. Chaotic Swell we can deal with just fine, though. We only have 2 switch left because I did use that switch. I wonder if I almost should have gone... No, I could have discarded the Mewtwo and then actually switched into this Mewtwo, popping Koko here and here, but I really want the option of this last Mewtwo, to be honest. I don't think it would have worked out better that way. There's a Marnie for my opponent. That's good for us because it gets us like deeper into our deck, which theoretically helps us find a switch if we need it, or just more cards to work with. There's a Tool Scrapper. Getting rid of my Air Balloon. That stinks. So that one sucks. That sucks for us, but we can definitely work through it still. Comes a Quick Ball. So here comes a Crobat, and they're gonna dig. They're gonna try and find themselves that switch here. See if they can get the knockout on my Mewtwo. I'm sure that's what they're going for, and I would bet they don't have 3 Crobat prize. Yep, here we go. They do have 3 switch left. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume they play 4 switch. I think that's a fair assumption in this. There is the switch. Okay, so they get the knockout. We're just gonna have to kind of do the same thing once again. Go for the paralyze. So I'm gonna send up Crobat here, and I could send up the Mewtwo actually. Go with Mewtwo. I'm gonna go with Mewtwo because if I can get an Air Balloon on the Mewtwo, I'd like an Air Balloon on the Mewtwo. And I really want Reset Stamp here, so this is one of those situations where I'm not going to... I'm gonna attach the energy. I'm actually gonna research over Marnie. Even though the Marnie would set their hand lower, I want those extra cards to find that Reset Stamp. We're not there yet. We did find the Big Charm for the Mewtwo, which is great. So Big Charm to Mewtwo, play a Cherish Ball, grab Dedenne. Both Reset Stamps are in the deck. We can also then switch into the Raichu. Gonna Tandem Shock. Evade our way these 2. Grab the both PikaRoms. And we have, what, 2 Reset Stamp left. 3 energy. A Great Catcher. At Eldegoss are only out to boss here, unfortunately. And then Dedenne change. We really want, once again, that Reset Stamp. And, hey, there we go. Reset Stamp down. Our opponent down to... Not very much. This Crushing Hammer, I actually almost want to save it. I don't know if this is right or not, but I don't have like a great idea of a target that I could Crushing Hammer here. Like if I Crushing Hammer, like I want to get a KO, I think, before I even consider Crushing. Like Crushing Hammer here. There's a research. So we do have another Reset Stamp in the deck. So we can Reset Stamp them again, but they could just get the switch here and close out the game right now. So we'll see if they get that. Yeah, the game could just be done here. Unfortunately, we don't have the Mewtwo interactive. I don't think we have to worry about just kind of decking out at this point in general as well, because we only have 10 cards in deck. So if we research this turn, we're going to have 2 cards in deck after we top deck, which is not good because then we're just basically going to deck out. So that's not great. So we need to come up with a different game plan, I think. But I could go Tandem Shock this. I could go research, Tandem Shock. We have 2 cards left in deck. As long as we don't top deck Eldegoss, then next turn we can go Knockout. And then Tag Bolt KO, I guess, would work. So I think that does work. So I'm going to go Crushing Hammer. Hit a Tails, of course. Attach to the Mewtwo. Switch. Play the Research. 3, 4, 5. Need the Reset Stamp. Get the Reset Stamp. Very good. Reset Stamp our opponent down low. Tandem Shock. Can't let them hit this turn, I think, again, right? Yeah, Tandem Shock. Paralyzed again. Next turn, we get the Knockout. And then the Eldegoss is in the deck, which means we just have to go toss this up. It's Big Charm doing work. Tag Bolt, knock out the second VMAX. That's all of our prize cards. As long as our opponent doesn't win on their turn coming up right now, we will win on the following turn. I think, so I'm going to draw 3 prize cards here. So I think I could go like quick ball away this. The thing I have to think about is if my opponent Marnies me, I just don't want cards in my deck. I guess I will 100%. I guess like Reset Stamp would be the biggest thing here to avoid. I can go, or if they Marnie. So if I play all 3 cards, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So even if they Marnie me, I wouldn't deck out. So I think I will go. If they Reset Stamp me, I want to be few cards as possible as well. So I can quick ball away this, I'm pretty sure. Fail again because I don't want to deck out. Attach to the Crobat, and then just go with Tandem Shock for the knockout. Full Blitz, doesn't matter. Take the knockout, and we're just hoping our opponent does not have Boss's Orders. But they got a lot of outs to Crobat still. They don't have a ton of cards left in their deck. They only have those 16. So they don't have a ton of cards left in the deck. Get a couple prize cards. Crushing Hammer would have been reasonable here because removing an energy from the Eternatus maybe would have meant they couldn't get a knock. Oh, I guess they have 4 damage here. So 1 more Building Spite would actually put them to enough damage to KO a Dedenne. So actually, they would have been just fine. Let's take a look at the discard pile real fast. 2 boss down. Probably play 3 to 4. They have stuff like Crushing Hammer and Tool Scrapper in here. So I wouldn't be surprised they only play 3 bosses orders, which means it might be a little bit of a struggle for them to find this last boss. There's the bat. Do they find the boss is the question. If they don't get the boss here on this bat, that's it. I think we just win. They're down their Tool Scrapper. I doubt they play 2 Tool Scrapper. They could, I guess, though. They could play 2 Tool Scrapper. And I guess my opponent can always hope that I don't have boss. We know we have access to one last boss, though, with that last card in our deck being the Eldegoss. There's a switch into the Eternatus VMAX. There's the boss, though, so they do get the boss in the end. It was close, though. Did what we could. Almost had a good comeback. Definitely very close. Tough matchup, of course, and we had a little bit of a rough start. Our opponent didn't have too explosive of a start either, but that is kind of to their own doing by bench locking themselves before that research. But close one. Into the next. All right, getting into another one. Lost the coin flip. Hopefully our opponent chooses to go first because we would like to go second, but you know, always a solid chance that our opponent chooses to go second. Yeah, so many decks that like going second right now, so we're gonna have to settle with going first in this one. That's fine. It's not that big of a deal. So we're just looking to set up for the potential for a turn 2 full blitz. So we just want a PikaRom or a Mewtwo with an energy, and then try and play towards the Coco Prism, plus attach full blitz. But if we don't get that, we can always just settle for an Electrify. To be honest, that's kind of fine to just go with Electrify on the turn. Let's see, Dedenne. Dedenne start's not great, but we do have some good options in the Quick Ball and the Cherish Ball to like set up kind of whatever we want to do on our next turn. I mean, that'll depend on what our opponents do. We definitely want to attach turn 1 as well. Boltund, which is good. So I guess I'm just going to go. We do want to attach this turn. That's the biggest thing here is we want to attach. I don't want to go Mewtwo myself, or do I? What I'm thinking is we don't have the most draw power. So I think I just want to go with PikaRom here. So they just electrify to their Mewtwo. I'm not confident I'm going to be able to bring it up and knock it out. Go, yeah, we definitely just want to attach this turn. We want to attach. I think we should almost plan to. Now, what we can do here is we can go like this. We can go Air Balloon here, switch into it, Chaotic Swell, and then we'll try and get an energy on our PikaRom, like I said, to have the potential to just full blitz next turn instead of Electrify. We just want the option. There's the Coco, so we're going to go ahead and throw that down as well already. Then just pass to our opponent. Yeah, if they play Crushing Hammer, get a Crushing Hammer heads, that's fine. We just go with an Electrify for turn instead. Nothing wrong there. But yeah, the full blitz this turn would also be nice, especially depending on if we can like hit a Mewtwo or something, which is where like the Great Catcher can actually come into play for like these aggressive early hits on stuff like ADPs or opposing PikaRoms or Mewtwo's or like any tag team GX Pokemon, just getting like an early hit. Because in this matchup, you don't really want to hit into a Boltund with full blitz. Like it doesn't feel great to full blitz a Boltund, but being able to full blitz like a Mewtwo or a PikaRom or something like that feels way better. That's what you want to be full blitzing into. So, yeah, feels pretty good to be able to full blitz something like that. So that's where the Great Catcher can be really good to help us be like have these aggressive early turns for sure. Because otherwise, sometimes we're just kind of stuck there waiting, and like just electrifying again or something to avoid hitting with our tag team, because we don't want our tag team to get hit first. We want to hit their tag team first, stuff like that. I think they forgot to bench the PikaRom there, but maybe they're fine letting it go. We got some information here. They play the Yell Grunt, which means they might play Crushing Hammers. Usually, if there's Yell Grunt, there's Crushing Hammer. Sometimes there's just Yell Grunt though, to be honest. So there might be no Crushing Hammer, but it feels like usually when they got the Yell Grunt, they got the Crushing Hammer. Here comes an E-Radar. See what they get rid of. Boltund and Energy. Still have two, or now have two Lightning Energy in the discard pile. And yeah, we'll see if they get off like a turn 1 full blitz or something here. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they wanted to get rid of the PikaRom there, but maybe they did. Maybe they just want to go with the Mewtwo route. Here comes an Eldegoss. So supportive return, gonna be research. Haven't seen a Crushing Hammer yet. I'm holding out hope that they don't play Crushing Hammers, but we'll see. So giving up the Raichu and the PikaRom. So they definitely play 2 Mewtwo, and not only do they play Mewtwo, their second one is probably not prized, because otherwise they probably want to do it like this. There's the Crushing Hammer we've been looking for, and goodbye. Speed Lightning Energy. Unfortunate. Oh well. We got Speed Lightning again on this Boltund. So we're just gonna go with an Electrify on this next turn, because our opponent did get the Crushing Hammer and hit heads. So we're just gonna go with the Speed Lightning next turn. They are popping Koko already as well, which makes me think they probably play Energy Switch. This is like information you can get off of how your opponent plays the game. Like they're already popping Koko. I can't KO Koko myself, so it makes no sense for them to pop it, unless they just want to get it off the field right now. But there still kind of makes no sense to pop it anyways, because I can't KO anything anyways. So like their board state will probably be the same next turn. So it kind of makes no sense to pop it right now, unless they're afraid of me like bossing up the Mewtwo and trying to trap it in the active. That'd be the only reason to pop it now, which I guess is like, I mean, technically something that could happen. So we have a lot of lightning in our hand. I do want to put the Big Charm somewhere. Probably fine on the PikaRom. Try and prevent a Boltund actually from getting a KO with a Bolt Storm on my PikaRom. So Big Charm's probably best here on the PikaRom. Got a Crushing Hammer. Gonna go ahead and throw this out there. See where it lands. Got a heads. They have 3, 4, 5. Get to 6 with their Boltund next turn. Doesn't really matter where I take it. I guess I don't want their Boltund to like hit into my PikaRom. So I think I'm actually gonna take it off the active here. I think it takes away the most options from my opponent. I'm gonna go ahead and Electrify. Unfortunately, we don't have any lightning in our discard pile for the Koko to utilize. So Koko's kind of stuck on the bench here. Maybe they'll get some Crushing Hammer heads and take it off my PikaRom, and then I can use my Koko. Hopefully not 2. 1 is okay. I'm fine with 1. But I probably have to Dedenne change next turn. And I guess I could just give up this Mewtwo. I can just discard the Mewtwo off the Dedenne change. I just don't want to. But I can do it if I have to. Yeah, so they might just go with an Electrify here again. They could. This just draw some cards as well. But here we go. Crushing Hammer. Tails. Love to see it. But yeah, I was talking to, yeah, they put a lightning here on the day. They were aggressive with their Koko pop. For whatever reason, it seemed kind of unnecessary to me for sure. There's a Yell Grunt, so we can still full blitz this turn. Quick ball away this energy. Dedenne, put the Big Charm onto Dedenne. And they're loading, completely loading up their Mewtwo. They are all in on this Mewtwo right now. Sheesh. All right, so I can go, I got a quick ball the lightning. Grab our Dedenne. This here. I do want to pop the Koko soon. I don't want to put Mewtwo in play though, I don't think. I think we're just gonna go ahead and Dedenne change and see what we see. This is not feeling like a great spot in this one so far. Dedenne change, because their Mewtwo's ready to go, so I don't want them to just have like switch boss, kill my Mewtwo. I want to Marnie them really. This goes here. Got a Crushing Hammer. Let's see what we see. I don't want them to Tag Bolt next turn, I don't think. I don't want them just to have the option to just be like, all right, Tag Bolt. I think I want to remove that energy off the Mewtwo. Although I don't want Boltund to be able to hit either. So they have 5 here, 6. They go to 7. But Boltund hitting my PikaRom doesn't seem that scary. Get rid of... Gosh, I don't even know what I want to get rid of here. Get rid of Boltund hitting my PikaRom is not optimal though. They could Tag Ball next turn, which I don't want to see either, but I don't know if I care about the Tag Ball that much. Let me rip it off the Boltund. Let's go with that. They might also like not be able to move the Boltund now and just have to like attach Electrify again, and they would like to Bolt Storm. And like I said, I'm not going to help them move their dudes around. And I am going to grab PikaRom here. Now, I wanted to switch card to get this Koko Prism's energy onto something else, but we're going to go ahead and settle for it on the Dedenne here, because I do want to full blitz this turn. I just want more energy in play to get this Boltund swinging with the Bolt Storm. We have 5. We get to 9, or 9 on the next turn we can get to. And I'm going to go ahead and full blitz to my other PikaRom here. I guess this kind of works out best, because this means they can't really attack with this Boltund unless they find their E-Switch, which, like I said, I'm pretty confident they play E-Switch because they put an energy on this Dedenne aggressively with their Koko. So they probably play E-Switch. They could E-Switch up still to the Boltund, and then E-Switch up to the Boltund, and then, you know, get the Bolt Storm attack off. But now we got a ton of energy in play. We got 8. We can get to 9 next turn, which is enough to KO a Mewtwo with our Boltund. We do need a switch, which we actually are down a couple of those. Down 2 switch. So that's not great. So they could go for like a tandem shock here. Like I said, they could Tag Bolt as well. They could Tag Bolt PikaRom and just try and chase those to close out the game. In their current situation, that would be a little bit difficult, I think, to pull off. I mean, they can go for that line there, though. We'll see what they go for. I didn't set up Raichu here because I think my Tag Bolt might be pretty good to set up for later in the game. That's why I went with the second PikaRom. I could have gone with Raichu, though, but I think this is a game where I think I might be able to utilize Tag Bolt. So we'll have to wait and see. But Boltund just like kind of steamrolling this game is also a strong possibility, because we are taking the 1-hit KO this turn. But there's the boss on my Boltund to prevent that. So that is no longer a route to take. I assume they will be using Tag Bolt here to KO this Boltund to stop it. And there's the Tag Bolt. So they can go Tag Bolt, KO this, probably KO a Dedenne off my bench. And this is where I would like to be able to... this is where I'd like to be able to actually have the Raichu play. So unfortunately don't have the Raichu, but we can full blitz into this with this PikaRom and then Tag Bolt with this guy later on. Still a very solid line to take. I'm going to start with setting up the Crobat. Could even theoretically attach to a Boltund this turn, which is what I would definitely like to attach to. So I think I'm just going to Marnie first. See what we draw. Keep the Eldegoss for later, or should I just go with the... But if I go research, then I have to attach now. But I want to full blitz to this one, so I think we're just going to go with the Marnie, actually. I'm not going to mention the Raichu, because I do want to go for that Tag Bolt play at this point. Got a Crushing Hammer, and all their energy's tied up on this Mewtwo, which is great. They're at 8, or at 7. They can get to 8 with an attachment for turn. I don't know if I want to actually Crushing Hammer anything away here, or if I'm just kind of fine with the way it is. I think I'm kind of just fine with the way it is. I'm just going to go... Well, I guess they could go E-Switch attach, boss knockout. That would be annoying. So maybe I should try and remove an energy here. The Tails, so not going to happen anyways. And then we're going to full blitz. And we're going to get these 3. We're going to put them on this PikaRom. Set up for the Tag Bolt. Their GX attack is gone. They actually can't win this turn. Oh, they can win this turn, but they need a lot. They need a Gust Effect, an energy for their Boltund, an E-Switch from the Dedenne or the Mewtwo onto the Boltund, and then knock out my Dedenne or my Crobat. But this Mewtwo actually can't do anything. This Mewtwo right here cannot make it happen itself. That's the important part, is this Mewtwo is kind of... It's done. It used all of its attacks. Their GX attack is gone. So that's great for us. We've got a switch. We got a Boltund, so we can get into our own Boltund here still if we want to. We do have plenty of energy left in the deck to pull off an attack with it as well. We're going to Tag Bolt this next turn. We're going to KO this and the Boltund, take all of their, or most of their energy out of play, and then go from there. Here comes a Crushing Hammer. It is a heads. I'm sure they'll remove it off my bench PikaRom. So we could whiff here. We could just whiff energy, actually. We don't have that many cards left in deck. We do have, what, 1 Speed Lightning. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 Speed Lightning, and the basic energy's in there as well. So I think we have a good shot to hit it here. We go with the Dedenne change. Down Goss and 3 Boss. So they might just be out of Gust effects. There's a... Let's call it the Dedenne and Air Balloon. Back to it. Okay, we have the switch for this. They're going for the Tandem Shock. Yeah, good play, I think, from my opponent here for sure. I don't think I'm going to bench the Boltund now, because we just kind of don't need it. So I'm going to switch to Crobat, and we just need to find an energy here, and I think we'll just kind of win the game. Let's see if we get it. Found the energy. Put it on the PikaRom. And I don't really need a Boltund, so I'm going to Quick Ball away the Boltund, get rid of the Quick Ball, get rid of the Boltund. See what's left in the deck. They can burn this Cherish Ball as well. I don't think that's doing anything for me. I guess I maybe could have kept the Quick Ball because that's more outs to Eldegoss. I don't think it's going to be that important. Tag Bolt. take out the Boltund, remove 7 energy from play, both of their attackers. They have no Coco. They have 1 energy in play. I think we've got this one pretty much wrapped up here. We don't have a Boltund set up ourselves. We actually don't have a way to draw a prize card next turn, but I think that kind of is better than our opponent's current scenario. I also didn't play the Reset Stamp yet because I didn't feel like I needed to. I might play it next turn, but Reset Stamping this turn doesn't do a whole ton. It's also my last Reset Stamp because my opponent doesn't have anything to work with anyways. So I didn't feel like Reset Stamping was necessary. I could have Reset Stamped there, though. They get a Boltund down, and actually, they could still get into a scenario where they win this, actually. Like, the more I see it, the more I'm looking at this, we don't have a way to close out the game next turn, which is a big deal, for sure. They get a Crushing Hammer heads. Doesn't really matter, though, too much, I don't think, here. So I'm probably going to research here and get that Reset Stamp, put them down to 2 cards instead of the 3 that they have. We also have a Crushing Hammer left, I believe, but I think we're going to top deck that almost guaranteed here. Yeah, let's see if we can get a heads, get a tails. I am going to Great Catcher as well, so they don't have a pivot to work with in their active. So we're going to Great Catcher that to Dedenne. We're going to research, draw pretty much our whole deck here. So we have game set up on the next turn no matter what. We're going to Reset Stamp down to 2. Try to make it as hard as possible for our opponent to pull off a win here. I, once again, don't think it's possible. Actually, maybe I miscounted. They can deal 100 damage total next turn. 100 damage. So actually, our PikaRom would live with 10 HP. Yeah, I thought that with 1 more energy, they could actually KO this PikaRom. Can't do that, though, because they only have 3 energy max next turn, which does 100, which means they would get to 260 on our PikaRom. So I think we pulled this one off here in the end. It was looking a little bit sketchy at the start, but slowly and steadily made our way back into it and ended up with a dub. Our opponent went a little bit all in, I think, on that Mewtwo. And kind of ran out of attackers because they didn't just like bench that PikaRom. They just carded both instead. And yeah, that's Pika Hammers. See you guys tomorrow.